This video has found you because your higher self and your soul wants to show you exactly why you're doing all of the things to manifest, to shift reality, to create the new, and it's not working. And I know it's so annoying when we hear, who are you being? And you're like, well, I'm doing the morning routine. I'm regulating my nervous system. I'm doing all of the things. So why is it not here yet? I'm doing new actions. I'm reading the books. I'm doing all the rituals and things. Like, why is it not here yet? But the reason is because underneath it all, very unconscious, this isn't something that you even know that you're doing because you've been doing it since you were very, very young. So it's the energy deep underneath the actions, the thoughts, the behaviors that you're taking. And in today's videos, I'm going to take you through the 5 drivers of behavior that basically block what you're trying to create. You could be doing all of the things right, but actually underneath it all, there's still survival energy. I want you to think about that you're creating a new life and a new world for yourself. I've done this multiple times over the last decade and helped thousands around the world to do this too. And we all get caught in the same trap, right? We don't realize what we're doing because it's just who we think we are. You get that advice of like, it's who you're being, not you're doing. But you're like, well, I'm being all the right things. I'm doing the work, I'm doing the healing work, it's not happening. And that's because underneath it all, there's still some weeds in your soil. According from my dream office that I used to imagine in the house I wanted in the country, married to the man that a younger version of me had no idea how to get because he was healthy and emotionally available, doing my business, which I've been running for 6 years, making multiple 6 figures, doing a job I love, helping other people, right? A version of me of the past didn't know how to be this person because I have to be seen, I have to be visible, I have to help people, I have to not have a corporate job. So she didn't know how to do those things. And in order to make this reality come into the 3D, I had to find all of the sneaky ways that the soil in which I was growing my dreams had survival still in it, had trauma still in it. If you imagine there's soil, what weeds have you got in there that are actually low-key survival behavior, which looks very normal in today's society? So you're going to want a pen and paper because we're going to go through the 5 things. So I'm going to pull out those behaviors, look at them, and then I'm also going to tell you what you need to do in its place. I always call this like shedding process, right? We get really aware of the sneaky things that we're doing that is actually keeping us out of alignment with what we desire. Because as long as you are in a survival energy, you are not the same frequency as what you desire, which is actually expansion. So when I was in survival patterns in love, where I was giving too much, worried about rejection, anxious in relationships, anxious in dating, I was in a survival mode. I was repeating a pattern that I had been doing since I was young with men because I had done that pattern with my dad and I was playing it out with every guy that I was going out with until I stopped doing that. So I stopped being anxious about men. I stopped chasing after them. So the energy behind it began to change. I became very aware of my survival patterns in each of the areas. I've done it with business, I've done it with money, I've done it with love, and I've done it with other relationships. Everything's a relationship, right? Especially when, if you're like me and you've had a history of trauma, complex PTSD, relational trauma with like parents and things like that, abandonment, we've all got our stuff, some of us more extreme than others. When you've got that kind of baggage, it's underneath because it happened from 0 to 7. So I just thought I was a really empathic, really kind person. I didn't know that I was codependent, people pleasing, shape-shifting, love addict, disorganized, attached. I didn't know any of that because that's just who I'd always been since I was a kid. And I just thought, this is who I am. I'm a bit of a walkover. I'm not very good with boundaries. This is just me. But actually, when I started to realize that those were survival patterns that were blocking me to create the desire. We're going to go through the 5 most common drivers. And the most important thing is that so much of what we see online is that we're changing the mindset. And it's very surface level when we talk about the nervous system. It does not go into the depth, it does not go into the unconscious. Your higher self and your soul wants you to do is look at these things that are beneath the surface, right? And to be really honest with yourself, to be really brave. There's a point in our journey where we have enough regulation in our bodies, we have enough capacity that we can actually really look and observe at our little things that we do that are keeping us from what we truly desire, that are keeping us in a form of survival, that are actually an old identity or like a trauma response. So these 5 drivers are, and I promise I have a funny story with every single one because I've done them all so much, is hurrying. So it's like, I do not have enough time, I'm behind, a real urgency. So this really has shown up in my business since the beginning, really. I was just like, oh my God, I want to earn this much money. I want to help these many people. I want to grow my brand. I want to do all these things and I just don't have enough time. There's just not enough time. There's just not enough time. I have to get it done yesterday. And really, the energy behind urgency is because we don't feel safe in the uncertainty of what we're creating. We feel behind in life because of everything that's happened when we were young. We've learned about time and pressure from society and culture, from school and things like that, to like kind of be like, I must finish these things in 3 hours. And that energy of urgency, it activates your nervous system. So I really noticed this recently where I'm completely in charge of my own schedule, right? Like boss of myself. I have a very few number of one-to-one clients, and I also have 2 groups that I support. So I don't have a crazy diary. That's by choice, by the way, because I have done that and I've had like calls every single day. I like life space. So I'm completely in charge of my schedule. When I get back to clients, when I'm supporting my one-to-one, I noticed that I was like, oh my God, I need to get this many videos done today. I need to do this. I need to like reorganize this and I need to do this. And also, I would have a to-do list and I was obsessed with ticking it off. Like it was like, I'm only worthy if I have ticked everything off on this list. I'm only safe if I create this many pieces of content. Like it was just insane and it was inside of me. Oh my God, I'm really old and I need to have a baby. I'm also on a fertility journey. So I'm like, oh my God, I need to do all these things now and I must fix this. I must fix this. And that is survival energy. And that is not the energy of creation and the energy of flow. And it takes you into survival patterns. It sends you into fight or flight, basically, because I'm fighting with myself about a made up thing of time. I also had a very controlling father. So it's like he lives inside of my head. Like, you need to get this done really, really quickly. You cannot enjoy this process. You are behind. So it's all of those things underneath what you are actually doing. So ask yourself, am I allowing myself to go slow and let my intuition guide me? Or am I letting myself to enjoy the present moment, enjoy what I'm doing, enjoy this step of the journey of what I'm creating? Or am I like, get all the 100 things done in this morning routine? I used to do that too. Like I would be like, listen to all the books, all of the podcasts, and have a crazy morning routine to try and get it all done. It didn't work because it was putting me into fight or flight. So this is the thing. You want it to be soft. You don't want to be hard and pushing because that's actually activating your nervous system. So you want like a schedule in your life, like this is the masculine, this is the structure of what you're doing that is really supportive of you. So like today, I'm recording some videos, doing some edits, I've got some like tasks I need to do for my work. And I am slowly enjoying the process. I have like an hour to cook my lunch and little breaks organized, but I'm not pushing, but I must get this done by 1 p.m. or, I'm a complete failure of a human being. So just like check in, become aware, observe this pattern that you're doing and notice where it is in your life and how you can clean that up. You don't have to literally push yourself through things. You can take your foot off that gas and allow yourself to move through your day and in the present. And yeah, it's totally a survival response. And if you stop doing that, it's going to tone down that energy of survival in your day. The next one is proving, right? I must prove myself. I don't feel enough. This is totally shame. The other one was the fight response, a really aggressive, almost angry with yourself. Whereas this is like shame. I need to prove myself to others. And this looks like things like I was like the complete loser my whole life and I need to create this success this external success. I need to be better in relationships. I had this childhood trauma and I need to prove that I'm like everybody else and I've healed and I've completely transformed my life. I'm a millionaire. I'm a YouTube superstar. I am in this amazing relationship. We're trying to prove ourselves to others so that we receive love or validation or connection rather than it coming from within. I have certainly done this for sure. Being like a kid of trauma, where you were like the one that had the weird childhood and the family that weren't okay, you feel like you got to prove yourself. Even that can show up in your manifestation creation journey because you're like, I need to show everybody that everybody else. It's a survival energy again, rather than coming from a place of wholeness, which is I am worthy of receiving what I desire. I do not have to prove myself to anyone or to the universe. I don't need to do this so that people love me or see me or validate me. You can create that for yourself. This is a younger version of you feeling like she has to prove herself or he has to prove her love. And you need to be with that part of you so you stop doing the behavior and you need to work with your nervous system. So we're going to briefly touch on that as we wrap up this video. Number 3 is perfectionism because you're trying to control things because you're afraid of failure, you're afraid of being rejected. You are like trying to do the perfect routine or be perfect in your business, or you're trying to be perfect at all the things. And that puts a ridiculous amount of pressure on you. It also keeps you in shame. So this is like survival again. And actually making sure that you're regulated, you're not in survival, and you're taking one messy action. And knowing that it's going to be edgy, it's going to feel uncomfortable as you break out of perfectionism. I've certainly had many clients with that and with myself as well. I'm creating a video when I was doing something in my business or I was trying to be with someone. There would be times where I was trying to water myself down or make the perfect content thing, and it wouldn't work because I was trying to prove myself to people. So just be aware of where you're doing that. Number 4 is please. It's people pleasing for their love, for their money, for their attention. This is huge if you're trying to be an entrepreneur or follow your purpose. Whereas all of this like marketing strategy information out there in the world, there's all this strategy information out there in the world that's like, you need to do this to get them to choose you, to get them to pay you. And you need to do this to get the guy. You need to do this to be seen. You need to do this for your brand to do well. It's like a breeding ground for please. So that means that you are in survival mode. So you will be attracting people to you that probably wouldn't choose you if you were being your authentic self because you're not being yourself. So like you're just persuading them. If you were just pretending to be someone and you started to be in a relationship with that person, that wasn't actually who you truly are. So it's performance, right? So when we're in that pleasing energy, we're not actually creating authentic soul connection. And that takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of effort. It's not easeful because you are like, who do I need to be so they choose me? Who do I need to do? What do I need to do so they stay? That energy underneath whatever you're creating, whether it's in love or whether it's in relationships or whether it's in business or whether it's in money, is a survival energy and it keeps you in the fawn response. And that isn't the correct energy in your soil for your desire to grow. Because if your soul is like, we want her to have the most soul aligned life where she gets everything, they aren't going to give you the thing. Your soul wants you out of survival mode. So it's like, okay, how many times is she going to realize that she keeps getting the guy because she's in the survival mode? How many times does she realize that money doesn't really stay around because she's chasing after it and it doesn't feel enough because she's proving herself, she's pushing herself harder, she's being perfect but not being authentic, and she's trying to please. All of these things, survival energy. Number 5 is avoiding and hiding. So this is when you want the thing, but you can't go towards the thing. You want the thing, but you feel like you can't have the thing. So it's this kind of energy. And then you kind of do nothing. I have done that so much in my entrepreneur journey, which is like, oh, I really would love to create success and I would really love to do this, but I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like it's safe to be around people. A lot of our relational wounding and not feeling safe to be ourselves or to be in relationships and to be seen. So we can avoid the thing that we really, really want, because when we start to go towards the thing that we want, it feels so scary and we like freeze up and your nervous system gets like proper stressed. So what I would say as well is that you could be very unconsciously avoiding. So I've worked with clients in the past and they have been healing on themselves for like ages. And they don't even realize that they're avoiding because it's so their personality. They're like, well, I do my visualization, I'm doing the thing, but they're actually not taking responsibility for making movement towards what they want to create. Like, it doesn't mean if you want a romantic relationship that you need to be on a dating app all the time, but you do need to be cultivating the relationship with yourself, where you're emotionally available to yourself, where you're present with your feelings, when you are like being there for all your younger parts. It's very active what you can be doing to change your frequency. That means that you're going to have a completely different relationship experience, whether you're on an app or whether you're going out, because you're not avoiding yourself, you're actually going towards it. This can also look like, I want to work on my purpose, but doing things that don't really move the needle, or doing things that don't really work because you're unconsciously sabotaging yourself. That is avoidance. And that's because there's a part of you that doesn't feel particularly safe. So I'm just going to go through a few little strategies that I walk clients through in my year program Overflow. The first one for that pushing harder, that really just requires somatic practices throughout your day so that you slow down and you get present and you check in. Am I putting pressure on myself? Am I pushing myself? And you slow yourself down. It's a very fast energy harder, so you want to slow yourself down. You want to slow yourself down. You want to discharge any kind of frantic energies, like I must get this done now. Give yourself a good shake, right? Just shake it off and go slower. Drink your water slower. Have a look out of your window. Tell yourself you've got more than enough time. Any way that you're doing that, just slow down and be present and be in your body and use your five senses. And if you've had a history of not being safe in the present moment because of your past, then that can feel really uncomfortable to be here now, because your body and your younger self doesn't know that actually the present moment is safe, which is why it's hurrying or proving or anything like that. I really love the polyvagal ladder. I'm doing a lot of that work with my clients in Overflow right now. So we really look at like, what state are you in? A polyvagal ladder is dorsal, it's freeze, it's fight or flight, or it's ventral vagal, which is our open receiving state. So we're always really checking in, what state am I in? Am I pushing? Okay, let me calm down. Let me not push. Let me be present. Let me be softer. The proving energy. I must make this better. I must do this. I must do this. What I would say with the proving, with it being shame and not feeling enough, it's normally a younger version of you. So this is where you want to be doing some inner child and protective parts work. So this is like you kind of pulling out the parts of you that feel like they have to prove themselves, that they're not enough as they are just now to receive as they are right now. That's another reason why it's not happening for you, because you're proving yourself. You don't think this version of you is allowed to have the thing. What in your history has given you that wound and has created this performative part of you, and being there for them and seeing how they feel, observing how it shows up, observing why, and tending to that part of you. We do all of this in my year program Overflow. The deeper details of how I do all of this is in my year program, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. In June, I'm doing a week experience where we're doing a chakra per day, where I'm going to be showcasing you practices of how to do this deeper work. It's the first week of June. You can comment expansion code below so that you can really experience how to do this work at a deeper level, because it's the inner work that changes the external. It's just £11 for the week. And if you're watching this video later, you can catch the replay. If you're live, then you also get the opportunity to come into a community with me, and I can tell you how to do these things by sending you voice notes. So just £11, check it out in the details below or comment expansion code. Proving and perfectionism is the same, so 2 and 3, because they're both around shame. So again, it will be a younger part of you that feels like she has to actually prove, perfect, and please. The other 3 are all very much quite shame-based. And they are often based on things that have happened in your childhood, in your past. So you want to observe when you're doing these things because it's showing you what you need to shed, and you need to connect with the part of you that's doing it to help them to realize that they are in the present moment. And that task, that step I told you before, which is like constantly bringing yourself back in the present moment, is really going to help your nervous system and that survival mode, because it'll be like, oh, we're not in that nightmare anymore. We're here. We're good. Okay, we can proceed and have more. We can hold more. We don't need to panic. The last one, in terms of the avoidance, it's really observing yourself, observing the sneaky ways that you are avoiding what you desire, the sneaky ways that you're keeping yourself busy and to not do the thing that you truly want, the lies that you're telling yourself, right? Like it's protective. So you'll be doing something, you don't even know that you're doing it because it's so unconscious. I noticed something recently as I've been working on expanding my brand and changing things. I've always been like a hard worker. I certainly was a hustler for a long time in my business. So I've always been like a doer, right? This is why I create this video, because I didn't realize the ways in which I was in survival mode because they were still so very, very sneaky. Because I was actually I was taking action and I was taking responsibility and I was doing practices and I was taking care of my nervous system. So this was super, super sneaky, which it was like, I'm working on growing my brand, I'm working on expanding my income, expanding my visibility, all these things. I'm doing the actions most of the time. But then there's a part of me that's like, actually, we don't feel safe receiving easy things, whether that be relationships or money, because we don't really trust people because we had like a really bad experience for most of our lives with people. So your desire of like bringing more people in your life, well, that's just so stressful. We don't think that's very, very safe. So actually, we're going to get you to do all this busy work that doesn't actually move the needle. We're going to get you to we're going to get you to do this project that isn't even going to create expansion in your life. It's just actually going to be a complete waste of time and it's going to waste your money because we actually think it's safer for you to stay away from people. It's very unconscious. And we go deeper into this parts work in my year overflow program, but you get to taste that for 1 week in June in the expansion code, and where we'll go into each chakra. Every part, there's so many different ones, and that one, born in disorganized attachment. So I want love, so I'll chase it and I'll work hard and I'll mark it and I'll do all the things, but then I'll run away from love because I can't trust it. So that's like not showing up in content. That's like not trying to go on a date. That's like sabotaging a relationship. And that's like not taking responsibility for your finances and things like that. But you want more money, but you want to expand your wealth. So have a little journal and write in the comments below, actually, what you notice, like really with love and compassion, the sneaky things that you've been doing that you just thought were normal, but actually they're a survival mode. I would love to hear in comments, and you can come back and tell me what happened next to clean these things up. In my work, I always talk about shedding and embodiment. So we're becoming aware of our patterns and we're shedding those things. And then we're embodying the opposite, which is slow regulation, taking action from our higher self, our soul self, over our little survival brain. And that is what takes us towards our expansion. My soul, my higher self, has told me pretty much and led me on a path to heal complex PTSD. Like the things that I knew to do, like this parts work, inner child work, before I even had training. I found the podcast, the books, I found the little guidance in myself. And, even further on my journey, when I looked to expand things and build a more aligned life, I started to intuitively really work with my chakra system. And I never knew that even was a thing. I have since found out it's a thing. I didn't even know that. And you have that intelligence inside of you, but you would not be able to access that when you're in survival. You will not know what the next step is, or where your guy is, or where your next client is when you are doing the pushing harder, when you are proving yourself, when you're trying to be perfect, when you are trying to people please. All those things are going to stop you from moving forwards, and they're going to keep you running on the spot, and they're going to keep you in survival. When you want to have expansion, when you want to have your soulmate, when you want to have a business that you love, doing work that you love, where you want freedom and peace and health, all of these things, you're calling an expansion, not survival. So you have to clean that up. And if you're like me and you're going for like your highest timeline, better relationships, better health, family that doesn't have all trauma wounds, money, doing a job that you love, fulfillment, like you want all the things, right? Because there's a few of us out there that are crazy. If you're still watching my video, you're one of them for sure. And that means that you've got to go find all the survival things that you're doing and get it out of your soil. And that's the work that we do in my program. But like I said, for a week, you get to experience that for just £11. Comment expansion for code, and I will send that to you. And yes, I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I will be dropping more videos as I feel very called to share the 1 billion lessons I've learned on this path of following my soul, following my heart to create the most expansive life, to create the overflow, to create fulfillment. And I really want to support you, people who are crazy, the black sheeps of the family, the ones that are going for more. I want to support you on your journey. So don't forget to like and subscribe.